change back to finished, and T2K's run might be finished now. With this game in hand, they might have had a chance. They were on 101 point, I think, at the start of the game. But we are going to see teams start to fully drop out now. Anyone below 100 points at this stage will not be making it to the champion spot.
Yeah, it's going to be a real tough road ahead if you want to make it towards that champion spot, and if you're behind by this much. I think 7th place downwards is still difficult. That requires you to have a chicken dinner on top of a chicken dinner and then a very good game to finish out with. It's unlikely. 33 Svan though. Ooh, that is real bad news. That's S2G. An absolute winner of a decision for them. However, Inco, Hamzy G, right over the side. A nade as well. Could spell doom for Inco.
Well placed, and they're done for. Cooks it, but it's a little bit long. Nenebete low has backup from Razy, who moves up that ridgeline. Nicely found, and look, Nova are going to light them up from the back as well. Jimmy has a good angle into the vehicles. They try and flow around the edge, and Nenebete knows they need to get out of there. But Becker, and he will fall. Squash left, last standing for Inco. And they have it all come crumbling down around their ears. S2G picking up those points is almost a worst-case scenario for them.
Absolutely. For Inco, this is all just falling apart at the seams. And we said that you need to play like your life's on the line now. And for Inco, I think they've taken that a little bit too far, because they are playing like this is the only life they're ever going to have. It's too safe. It's too cautious.
Alter Ego, though, being anything but cautious, and why not? You got to rip it towards the end. With 2 more matches to play, they want to put some numbers on the board. We've seen that they are capable of chicken dinners. They've already managed to accrue 2 over the 16 matches, or well, the 15 that we've finished, and the 16th match now on the cards. 3 eliminations this game, tying it up with IHC and S2G, both of whom also have 3.
4 AM, now just 3 players. Fireflux in 16th place down towards their south side. Squash finds himself a little bit of safety. And Alpha 7 fairly central. Nova split around them. Again, for Alpha 7, things aren't over yet. Still a good chance with 3 more matches to go now. Nothing is out of the picture for at least the top 5.
The headshot hills on the northern side making up a massive swathe of the circle, and S2G control it. Going to be very difficult for anyone to move into it as well. With 4 AM on that west side, you can't really swing through without taking a fight, and those 3 players that remain for them will be a strong barrier to move. However, the circle gives them some semblance of safety for the rest of the lobby, and moves down towards Pachinki yet again. Nova on a 2-2 split, looking to regroup now. Look at that, Order and Jimmy sailing across.
It's a really good regroup. Great timing for it. Squash also happy about this one from Inco. Will just be about in. 4AM may try and hold out against S2G, understanding they'll have to pass it along some quite open ground to get towards the circle. They could swing all the way towards that eastern side, but that's very clumped up. It's a difficult ending. This Pachinki, a lot of fielded area, a lot of awkward buildings to play. Influence Kevin finding that out firsthand. All these windows.
And all this trouble. Spelling doom for Influence Kevin. 1 player now remaining. Federal does manage to get the first knock. And a flush potentially coming through as well. Looking for a res. Slows down any aggression. Pick feet. 4 Wolves will be able to get the first aid off. Nade cooking now. Underarm switches back to over. And a nade into the side room would be the end of plenty a player on Influence Kemin, but instead just gets the double flush, and there's the last as well, as it does get picked away. A third party from GeekFam.
A real shocking performance from Influence Kemin. Not in the sense of it being bad, but in the sense of it's so surprising for me to see them in 13th place. I thought that this would be the Brazilian team that we see taking us all the way towards that top 3 position. Unfortunately, they've just not found their footing here in the PMGC 2022 Grand Finals. unfortunate ending for them as well. I think at 96 points, 1 elimination, only 2 matches to go. All but over now to try and get towards that top 5 at least. Maybe some redemption in the top 8 potential.
4 Angry Men with some rooftops to play around and S2G to slow. So important for them to do so, as much damage as they can. Preferably take them out entirely. Fnatic takes a little bit too much damage and takes the knee for it. Rules crashes into the side of the entrance there, and there's a knock going their way, and he swivels around and somehow plays it around the edge of the smoke and completely destroys Alter Ego. 15th place.
Kind of hope that Alter Ego had left a grenade behind there. Thought he was cooking one. 4AM though, taking massive damage from Squash alone, of all people. A good nade over the top, but now 4AM down to just 2 players at the hands of Squash, helping out S2G in a way. And they're going to rock up on this one, taking no chances. This is the perfect opportunity for them to take out the majority of their competition.
This is absolutely huge. A double roll-up coming through from the S2G. We've seen them do this before, and it has gone pear-shaped several times. But they're on the chase now. The last player from 4 Angry Men is taken down, and their closest rival eliminated. DRS now a big threat for them. 1 player of theirs has fallen already. 3 players active for DRS. 4 on Alpha 7. 4 on Godlike Stalwart further behind.
All 4M can hope for now is for S2G to go out early, but the way they're playing, the finesse of it, the way that they're just flowing through these hillsides, taking fights and making sure no one can step to them, it doesn't seem likely. S2G are feeling more and more like a champion as the matches go on.
The west edge of the next circle guarded by Nova. S2G have been taking some pretty tricky fights, to be fair, with teams that are main competitors for them. Nova might be their next challenge, but will it prove to be too much?
Taking players outside the blue to pick up vehicles left behind. Smart move from S2G. Trying to use as many vehicles as possible because they know the run ahead of them is going to be disgustingly hard to hit. So having as many vehicles to ensure as many lives are saved, because I think that they know there are going to be casualties going into the circle. It would be amazing if 100% of the squad made it through, but is it likely? Not really, no.
Nova moved away from the hilltop that they were occupying for a long time. The church position overlooking Pachinki is currently available, and S2G might be the ones to try and take control of it. Vampire a little bit too far south and not wanting to step too far in. S2G are worried there's a team in there already, and why wouldn't you be? It's a seemingly valuable position that should have an occupant.
Yeah, Nova playing for late game there, and because they were playing a split and they are so strong at holding onto positions, they've essentially held on to 2 spots that 2 teams realistically should have had. So you're right, for S2G, this is almost certainly position that has been taken up in church. So they all just lie down underneath it, expecting to be shot at any second. Fireflux, send in.
Vampire trying to slow them down from the south side, and Buriram will be the doorstop for them. That's low, but back to the building. Solus has his teammate swept away from him. Ketch falls as well to shots across the way. Vampire are still chiming into it. Only 1 player now standing. Solus on the ground floor. They think he might be upstairs, but he's a little bit lower than that. They'll hear the footsteps now, though, and they'll know he's still in here. Kengzo watching the outside, and Solus holding the door frame, waiting for someone to make a mistake here on Buriram.
We'll hold on. Buriram comes down the stairs, but it's Tiger there moving through, and Fireflux continue to have not the greatest of tournaments here in the PMGC. 16th place. Vampire overtaking them must have stung. But again, just looking at this leaderboard, 87 points to 8th place. You know, it is only 19 points away. It is 1 game. So everyone's really done very well during this PMGC. Everyone's put up points. There's not a single team that I think has been dead in the water. over here in the PMGC.
S2G found out that the church was free and will be the ones taking it, but you're right, the points totals are so tight. Overall, we are far below a 10-point average at this stage on these games at the top of the tables, which you would expect 2, if not 3 or 4 teams to be able to achieve over the course of a tournament. And we are over a 5-point average at the bottom, which is really quite remarkable, which is something you don't see all too often. Nade from Rules out to maybe slow down Alpha 7's approach. DRS, remember, the main threat right now for S2G on the top.
DRS looking for something more. Again, like you said, main competitor. Ooh. But a great nade to start things off. Rules is already down on A7. They don't take a single moment, or at least don't waste a single moment. They'll move straight through. 5 eliminations found for them. Again, it's not done for Alpha 7 yet. Dangerous push from S2G, but they make it. No one takes too many shots over towards them. They waited enough time. There wasn't enough firepower, enough guns looking at them. So when they made that approach, they made it by the skin of their teeth, but it was still quite reliable.
6 eliminations for S2G and all 4 of them alive. 9th place for DRS, and now Alpha 7 with 5 eliminations, all 4 of them alive, will take up the mantle of the closest chaser in this game to S2G. Shots from top over towards Mafioso as he hides behind the wheels, trying to stay hidden. The Axel ricocheting the bullets away. Mythic hops on into the pickup there. And will be alive for the time being, but there's a nade from Geek Fam and a second as well on the knock from the nade. It's beautiful. Micah wants to keep it on pouring, and Alpha 7 being torn apart here. Godlike Stalwart might be able to step up to the plate as the next closest competitor to S2G's top spot. The nades do not stop, and Geek Fam rack up 5 elimination points already, with 1 more soon to follow. That's 6.
Refusing to allow anyone from Alpha 7 to survive this one. Just Carrillo remaining now, looking for those placement points in the smoke, but outside the blue will push him into open ground. It's unlikely that Carrillo stays alive for much longer, and Micah will put him to bed.
Damn rude, actually, the one to steal that one away. It looked like Micah had it all lined up, but this is such excellent news for Turkish fans. S2G with 4 teams directly beneath them, all wiped out. They have 4 players alive. They have 6 eliminations on this game so far. They are in a prime spot to take a huge game, so vitally important at this stage.
No matter where they drop out now, I'd say it's a good profit on the game. Even 7th place right now would not be bad for them. For 4 AM, it's going to be pretty rough to profit on top of what they've earned this game anyway. And coming into Miramar's Game 5, I said this earlier today and yesterday, that for S2G, that's a map where they do excel. We saw it on the first Miramar of the day already, and having that in the back pocket for Game 5, this is a place where you can bump up even more points. And 4AM really was suffering on that last Miramar. They didn't get very far. They looked a little bit lost. So for S2G, I'm really excited to see what they can do here. In our second to last angle, to pump up some big points here to secure their position at the top of the table.
Buriram 2 players, Wolves 2 as well. If they fall, that would put you in 5th place, which is desirable for everyone, other than, of course, those 2 teams, but we'll see what can be done. Vampire crunching in a little bit on that south side. They have got the 2 buildings there, and they're pushing in towards Kengzo. DBS in hand for Schwepp, and Fluke actually caught out by Godlike Stalwart, having some angles there to play with. Nova are clashing with S2G in the meantime, but Razy has some cover to play with. Backs off the high angle peak, but will be very resible for S2G as they play a little small 2-2 split. Nova not wanting to push too far out, but they'll have to regroup and push into the town if they want to keep it on going on that northern side.
S2G, Kelsey very low. Wolves have to move forward. Zone 7 right now, 2 more to go. Close to Zone 8. Nova swings round towards some compounds very close towards S2G's position. Very clumped up, so a few grenades could spell doom for S2G. You wonder at this point, how many does Nova still have remaining?
The only Malaysian team here. Geek Fam have got 9 eliminations now, and it's a team that has fragged out before. See if they can do anything with the 4 players they have on the north side, but Micah does go down. Potential trouble there. Vampire seen, and Godlike Stalwart have been so troublesome on this south flank of Pachinki. An urban finish, we haven't seen it so far. But now Nova, a big test for S2G. Frozen will fall first. The burn from Hamzy is good. It isolates the room and looks to put pressure on Jimmy and Order, one of whom has to leave. Jimmy will be the one to elect to do so. Hops out, and Paraboy on the corner being isolated. There's another player in the kitchen though, and Hamzy could be caught broadside, but he has backup to deal with the threat. Order falls, and now it's just Paraboy at the back. Not too much HP, but S2G have lost 2 players in the midst of the fray. Silas wants the flushes. They want to confirm these points. With 8 eliminations, they'll take what they can get. 6 teams remain, and Paraboy backed off with the burn. S2G, 3 alive, 8 eliminations racked up to 10. They are on double digits already, and with 5 teams remaining, they have guaranteed a bumper game to see themselves safer towards the top.
This is going to be so hard to chase in the next 2 games, regardless of what happens going forward. For S2G, 3 players still going outside the circle now, though. If they can conclude this game in a top 3, the teams underneath them are going to be quaking in their boots, because that trophy is going to look so far away. Might need to go to Specsavers just to even have a hope at seeing it.
Godlike Stalwart still have been looking to control so much of the ground here, but My Name P spooks him a little, unfortunately. Doesn't manage to get the better end of the deal. Top will get the flush as well. Kengzo upstairs, hiding in the attic. A monster in his own right. King Kengzo, we called him during the group stages for Buradam. See what he can get done here. Vampire nades over the top, laid into S2G. Silas out the window, escapes from punishment on that one, but that's a lot of damage sent in, and into the Molotov from Schwepp. Has to get burnt down on the cross. The smokes are there, sure, and now it's just 2 players for S2G. 5th place finish, not ideal, but they will take it. 10 eliminations, and it's a big game to put a barrier between them and the teams beneath them. 10 eliminations for Geek Fam as well. But is it time for Godlike Stalwart to stand up?
Vampire Esports as well, off the back of that fantastic Sandhawk. Maybe looking for even more. They did say they wanted top 8 today. I told Sir Tony, get top 5.
He's taken that advice to heart.
He absolutely has here.
And imbued that confidence into his team as well.
A little late though, don't you think?
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, really making me bite my fingernails here, man.
But we've seen how tight those points totals are, Blank, and anything can happen. A miracle run for Vampire from the bottom of the tables after match 3.
For Stalwart, maybe even. It's a real chance. I think for Stalwart, this is a big game for them, considering they were one of the closest chasers towards the top of the lobby over the Alpha 7, and they've still got 4 players going. They can rack up some big points here, John. And this is last zone now. This will push everyone in. Pika having this high ground position as well as top is so unbelievably beneficial for them. Anyone who goes onto this open ground, Pika and top, will be able to play off one another to hit them. It's really, really good stuff. These smokes are so good, though, from Geek Fam to get through. Kengzo as well, just blockaded into the attic.
Can't afford to go upstairs, though, as Mike is actually ticking away. I think he caught himself on fire. Didn't expect to finish that one out so quickly, but do so they will. 4 versus 4 versus 4. Urban finish in Pachinki. And the nades start to fly. Vampire with 4. Godlike Stalwart on the south side. Schwepp gets caught. U-High is good for 1. A high elimination game for Geek Fam so far. Nades on in from Vampire towards the Godlike Stalwart line. Schwepp repositioned towards to go for the res from Fluke. And Nade not really going to punish it here, but Mike has already taken a lot of damage. Ravenclaw, high ground on the second floor of the building. Snipes around the corner, sneaks
Stalwart,
back on in. Godlike Stalwart can start to move through in the back because Geek Fam have been punished from the front.
No!
And action is going to start to tick away. Snipes the early one to fall on Geek Fam. Micah has the nade but floods out the front and right into the sightlines of Vampire. Godlike Stalwart getting cut down, and it's chaos. Another potentially on the cards now as Vampire move in. All 4 of them are alive and kicking, and it is a second game on the cards. They just need the last, and it is Vampire Esports. They have hit their stride. Is it too late?
I don't know if it's too late, man. There's potential here for Vampire Esports. I mean, 2 chicken dinners back to back. If they continue on this rhythm, we say their performance fluctuates. Once it's high, it is so high. And it feels like we've hit midnight right now around Pennsylvania because they are going strong. I am worried for all these other teams because there is a beast in the night and it is hungry.
Flashing red. The eyes of the Vampire turn their gaze onto the lobby and strike fear into the hearts of many, I'm sure. PMWI champions, remember, this is a team that has power. We just have not seen it until these last 2 games.
Yeah.
And Blank, with those 2 games, they have done so much in this lobby that is so tightly packed on the points tables.
Absolutely. I like that, Schweppes is MVP. He got subbed out for 2 stops yesterday and was like, I am good, by the way. You won't be subbing me out again. That's just how this is. I mean, this was a couple of very, very good games from Vampire. I mean, that was not an easy finish on either. Sandhawk was a little bit easier, but again, good positioning. Here on Pochinki, that was the most chaotic fight I've seen in a long time. I have to give good props to Geek Fam, though, John. They did a wonderful job during that game, and it was very hard. I felt like they were going to go down 10 seconds earlier. It was a marvel to see them live for that long in the first place.
They moved up to 90 points at the end of last game from Vampire. This time around, they're going to have put a massive dent in the leads ahead of them.
It would be funny if they were like 16th place to first place.
This is crazy. Not in one day. Blank in 3 games. They've done it in 2 so far. They would need a 3rd massive performance to try and cheer themselves up towards the top. And what a way it would be to be able to find our PMGC champions. But we're going to head back over to the analyst desk.
Just what is happening right now in the PMGC Grand Finals? We have Vampire coming in from very last place and making and working and pulling it off somehow with a back-to-back chicken dinner, and they will find themselves in a very good spot after that game. Is that the secret? Is that the secret behind pulling it back? Schweppes being alive, finally, not dying in the early game?
I hope being alive is pretty important.
I guess so. Maybe that is the difference maker.
But really, I mean, we counted them out at the start. They were like, from what we saw from Vamp, you and me both, and we were like, no, it's not going to be happening for them. Back-to-back chicken dinner, not just a small chicken dinner, like their big elimination chicken dinner, and that is looking so good for them. And as they said, John and Blank during the cast, could they be doing the impossible and going from 16th to first place in the last day? It's hard, but it could happen.
If they do it, I'll be more than happy. All right? But I don't think it's going to happen. All right? I just don't think it's going to happen.
Let's take a quick look at some of the highlights from that last game, because there are plenty. That was one hell of a game. Obviously, Pochinki being the main protagonist of match number 4 for today. And at that breach alone, I was cheering for Wolves because they finally pulled off to defend that breach. And unfortunately, there wasn't much afterwards.
I don't know, you call Pochinki the main protagonist, I'm going to call it antagonist right there. It was not fun for the teams to deal with, but Geek Fam, they were in a hot seat for a major portion of this Game 7, and really what they were trying to do is clear all of the teams coming in from the eastern fields. The moment you do that, you can start fighting teams around you, but unfortunately, as you fight the teams on east, teams in Pochinki itself will become the major threat later on down the line.
Yeah, definitely a big game for Geek Fam, and I am just happy to see God-like Star Wars there towards the top and towards the end too.
Oh, yes.
I mean, this team has been completely different, night and day difference from what we saw in day 1 to what we started seeing at the end of day 2. I think if they continue on this trend, you are going to have to just wear that jersey.
That was really interesting, talking about God-like Star Wars especially. Let's take a quick look at match rankings. 25 points for Geek Fam, even though Vampire took home the chicken dinner with 23 points. Now we have God-like Star Wars in 4th place. Really interesting, that comeback, because until round 11, they did not have a single top 3 placement. Can you believe that?
What I'm actually interested on is S2G. I feel like they took massive advantage of the situation there. With Inco Gaming, with all the teams that were kind of hunting them down to get that first place. I mean, the Turkish casters were going absolutely crazy. They were making me go crazy. 16-point game that is going to be able to create a gap, and it's going to be making it harder. And this is why I was saying that I don't expect Vampire Esports to pull the impossible because of how S2G is currently performing.
Incredible, especially since S2G took out both of their direct oppositions, which was 4AM and obviously in second place.
Nova also later on.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Let's take a quick look at some head-to-head statistics. And who do we have here? Silas. Ooh, who else than Silas?
Come on, we saw Razy, we saw Cassidy doing well. We're finally seeing Silas up there. It's been since a few games that we've been missing out on Silas. But the thing is, the fight they took versus 4AM, the fight they took versus Nova, it just felt so damn easy. Absolutely like a knife through butter, I would even have to say, Seven. And really, the strength of this team, night and day compared to their first day of play. And now, a team that is not only in first place, but slowly and surely building a little bit of a lead for themselves.
I feel like their aggressiveness has definitely improved, and we can say the exact same for Godlike Software. I mean, we got a chance to see top right there as well. These teams are going to just make me not have any nails at the end of the day.
Absolutely incredible. Maybe talking about Nova for a second, because you were really worried for them after this game.
I still am. I said it during that game. Was that the match that puts Nova out of order? Not a pun intended, by the way.
Wow, okay.
I'm really not too sure, because sure, the potential, mathematically speaking, they could still make it up there. There's only 2 matches. And if the next match is a bad performance, they're done. That's it. The three-peat will not be happening.
Whatever is wrong with Nova, it sure as hell isn't the hardware that we have right here, because they're all playing with it. And let's take this quick second when we thank our sponsors. First of all, obviously Sony, with the Sony Xperia 1 Mark IV and Xperia Stream, which were co-developed in collaboration with professional esports players. You can play PUBG Mobile with Xperia Stream's total cooling system and multiple ports for intensive gaming and streaming. We also want to thank Prime Gaming while we're at it. We can have free in-game content with Prime Gaming, not only free in-game content, but also free games throughout all genres. Everything that you will enjoy in terms of categories of games, you will find there. And to top it off, you will find free PUBG Mobile items and content there as well. So make sure to check out Prime Gaming. And obviously, we want to get your attention on towards the PMGC server. You may have noticed it in the chat already. If you haven't, you will see it in chat and social media. Make sure to click on it, because if you do fill out the survey, you're not only giving us a chance to make this broadcast better, but you are actually giving yourself a chance to win some amazing prizes. So check out the PMGC viewer survey. You will find it in the chat and obviously in social media as well. And last but not least, for the ones that haven't opened the app PUBG Mobile in the last 2 days, it is time to do so right now, because the new update is out since start of this broadcast, since 6th of January, start of PMGC Grand Finals. So make sure to awaken your fighting spirit. You know, get right in there and check out the new update, Warrior Trial. And with that, we're going into a quick break, and we will see each other right back. Actually, we're not going into a quick break, ladies and gentlemen. We might have some more time to dive into what we just saw. Any teams you want to pick about in particular?
We keep saying it, there's too many teams. I don't know which one to really talk about right now. I still want to see DRS. DRS is still the team that's still lingering. They're still there. Got to be careful. The power can strike hard in these last 2 matches.
They definitely can. I mean, I feel like they had a great push. If I remember right, it was into Alter Ego, and they were able to get some good eliminations there. They still have a chance.
Well, that's from us. We will be seeing each other in just a couple of minutes. Stay tuned as we are going into the last 2 matches of the PMGC Grand Finals. See each other right back.
The time has come, so see we all fade. Painted scars of past mistakes. We stay strong and refuse to break. You know what is yours to take, and we will be the one. Time to take a stand. The world is in our hands, and you can feel the weight. The circle's closing in. Time to carry on, and we will be the one.
Ladies and gentlemen, it could not be more exciting. It's one hell of a situation right now on the overall leaderboard. And going over to Yusef, at the start of the last match, that was something interesting with S2G and Inko. They took them out very early.
Yeah, with Inko, they put themselves in some interesting situations that I keep asking myself, what are you guys doing? Because, I mean, they keep losing player early on because they're parachuting for so long that by the time they actually lay down and land, there's people just waiting for them with guns. This is why. This is the reason why I'm wearing their jacket right now, okay? Because if there was ever a chance for this team to respond, for this team to wake up, it would be now. They're currently sitting 21 points behind first place, and if they don't wake up now, they're not going to be able to do anything. And look at that, S2G, 159 points.
19-point lead right now for S2G. I mean, there's just, at this point on time, they're just trying to lengthen their lead against all of the teams below them. DRS, 4 Angry Men, got to be careful, man, because that lead is going to keep on building in these next two matches, but they're just looking good. They've been looking consistent throughout today. Even if they gave themselves a bad game, then they followed up with an absolute banger of a performance. I don't know, can anyone take down S2G right now? It's going to be a tough task at hand.
And the crazy jump up to Vampire Esports now in 8th place,
Oh,
113 points. That's crazy. Wolf Esports here with 113 and Nova.
No.
This is I feel like this is maybe one of the biggest upsets this year. Definitely the biggest upset.
I really can't imagine Nova just staying in that 10th position. It just absolutely feels weird. Looking at the next two matches that we have coming up, it is once again Miramar and Arango. Any tips for Miramar already? Because I really thought the last two games were super interesting. Are you just going to say Vampire's going to get another chicken dinner, Max?
No. I think we're kind of stretching it right now. But as we tend to say always, right, Seven,
yep.
Nova are a team that do well on Miramar. This is going to be the battleground where they can bring it back for themselves. So I want to see Nova get himself a game here. I want to see the chicken dinner.
I'm with you.
Let's take a look at the teams to watch that you guys picked. And obviously 3 each once again. I'm kind of curious to see if there is a Nova in there. It's only for you, Max. No Nova for you, Seven. Have you given up the hope?
No,
have you lost it?
I mean, I talked about them enough earlier on. I feel like I wanted to give some light to some of the other teams, like DRS. They were able to showcase some good performances earlier in Miramar. I want to see them mimic that again with S2G. If they can stay alive, if they can just get a top 5 situation and get some, even 5 eliminations, even 3 eliminations, I think they're going to be able to maintain a nice lead.
I'd have to agree, but also you've got to keep in mind that S2G, if they get a chicken dinner, like a big one that we saw earlier, it's done. It's GG. They will be the world champions. Okay, so S2G, one chicken dinner, and it might just be done and dusted.
Imagine the situation where we have a defending country, Turkey, Grand Finals 2023. Oh, that would be amazing.
That would be the best storyline ever. Okay,
Yep.
I want to see it now.
It really would. And with that being said, we are going over to the commentary desk, John Ellen and Blank, with the second to last game of the PMGC Grand Finals. Hype it up, boys.
Match 17 on the cards here in Miramar. We draw ever closer to the inexorable end of 2022's chapter in PUBG Mobile history. With 2 more games left to play, this is the last we'll see of Miramar.
Oh, yeah.
What are you doing?
Alex said to hype it up.
Oh,
Yeah, so I had to hit him with one. I did debate whether it was a good idea or not, but I was like, I'm in for a penny, I'm in for a pound at this point in time.
you've broken me.
Oh, I'm so sorry, bro. But yeah, we're heading into Miramar, and we've talked about this before. Max has already set it up. This is where S2G could pick up a chicken dinner, a bunch of points, a position which would set themselves pretty much untouchable towards the top of the standings. But is this the Vampire comeback? Is this the Vampire top 5? Is this the Vampire top 3? Can they keep up this kind of pace? Because it's a difficult pace to keep up. If anyone can do it, it is Vampire, the streakiest team in all of PUBG Mobile.
Puerto Paraíso to Torre Almada in the north side for our final Miramar. I would love to see Vampire be able to pull that out of the hat. I mean, they've won 2 back-to-back now. They started the day, and in fact, they started match 13 out of 18 with... Was it match 13? No, it would be match 15 out of 18 with a 16th place record. 57 points they were able to have. In 2 games, they have over... No, they haven't. They've almost doubled it. 1 point shy of that mark. And if they're on form, then there's nothing that can stand in their way. But there is a long, long way between them and that top spot if they want to be able to take it. They have to fight S2G for it, and I'll tell you what, there is no way that that is an easy fight to take.
It really is, and I think S2G feel like they're so close to that prize at the moment. They almost have their hands gripped around the trophy. They do not want to let go. And they are holding on for that chance to defend the trophy on their home turf next year over in Turkey. This will be an incredible story to finish off PMGC 2022 and look forward towards the future, but already T2K set sights towards Vampire.
Maybe looking to spoil it here and now. Stone doesn't even have a weapon and he's on the hunt. Unfortunately, a stake through the heart of the hopes through Stone to have the 4-player power here, but with 3, Vampire will try and carry out further mischief in this lobby.
Nepal also challenging out for that #1 spot at the moment. DRS, 140 points, tied with 4am. Inco, they fell off. Is an unfortunate truth, to say the least, for them. Right now, just do not have that confidence to ascend for that centre. So many other teams have set their sights upon those best compounds, and Inco is struggling to find an entrance at this point in time, with the meta of the lobby shifting slightly over the days. But DRS, I think for Nepal, it would be one hell of a victory for them. From the amount of times we've seen Nepal make their way to PMGCs before and do pretty decently well, but never towards that top side. DRS has really turned things around this past year. They look so fantastically strong, and you know what? They are the real soldiers now.
They are the real soldiers. You know what, Blank? This lobby is looking a bit like Christmas leftovers. Because it is a turkey sandwich. Turkey at the top, turkey at the bottom here. I know it's the other way around to what you would normally see. But Fireflux at the bottom. The fact that they are the team at the bottom shows you how powerful the entirety of this lobby is, right? Yep. This is a team that people fear when they think about the Turkish region. And they have a 5.5 average score in this lobby, which to be a bottom place score is still really, really high in general. So I'm absolutely loving the action that we've seen so far here. Match 17 of 18. The final Miramar, and this is where we find ourselves.
S2G. Certainly I would say Fireflux is that team that people thought would be on top, but I think for S2G this has really been a chance for them to establish that dominance and show just what Turkey is made of. And I think that all the clutch players on this team, Razy, Kelsey, Hamzy G, every single one of these players, including Silas, a veteran of the scene, it has been a long time coming for success for S2G, just in terms of the players they currently have on board. And I think that throughout the year, people keep telling me, you know, S2G, man, keep watching out for S2G. And I'm like, okay, I will. And, you know, it was never always towards that top side. You know, I was like, you know, they're a pretty good team. They've got some cool moments. And then they really surprised me. Then they really excited me. And then we get to PMGC 2022. Now it feels like a chance that they could take home a storyline which will be forever etched into the pages of 2023 and remembered there forwards.
Would be an excellent foundation upon which to build their year to ride to glory. Silas, Razy, Hamzy, Kelsey, all contributing so well to this roster. And looking to try and convert. The 19-point lead they hold is not certain. It's a bit tenuous, but still a bit of a breath of relief for them at this stage.
Once again, Nova takes up a lot of these positions that Inco's been taking. And right now, I think Nova's been holding them just a little bit better. Inco, though, want to reframe themselves towards the top, make Brazil proud. And now they have to face off against the two-time champions themselves. It's Nova here in the compound. Inco have already made their way in. Nade out the side, won't do too much damage. Frozen, tickle just a little bit.
Nenebete peeks out, gets a little bit of damage over onto Frozen again with the nade. Paraboy not going to be able to suppress the door frame just yet, but Jane is here from T2K. A long-range shot over onto Order. And we'll go for the spray down as well. That's going to slow down Nova on the approach and maybe a little bit of a gift for Inco at a crucial juncture for them. Nova, they've let it slip just slightly. Well, they will not give out. Not yet. They have more staying power than that. Paraboy still on that ridgeline. Squash suppressing that position. Becker, Nenebete close. Auto shotgun for Nenebete and through the window will slow things down.
Ooh.
Squash from the staircase. Sees the muzzle flash from Paraboy. Sees the tracers pierce the smoke. And sends one back straight through the heart of the off angle from Nova. Squash, spray around the side, a drop shot at the Frozen hits the up as well and will be able to find another knock. Squash pivotal in the fight, but Jimmy's still active. Seen too that will not go their way, and Nova's hopes have crumbled. 111 points going into the final game, and that is not going to be enough for them, Blank.
I think that's it. I don't think we are seeing the 3-peat. I think we can confirm it right here, right now. Will it be another Chinese team on top, though? Will 4AM take them all the way, or will we have a different region, country representing that title? And will that title be represented in the home country for 2023? There's a lot on the line here for all these teams. Brazil kicked things off so strongly towards day one. Can they maintain that presence? Happy to see Inco there. They really brought things back. I think that was a fight that they took phenomenally well. They did get a little bit bailed out there by Jane when Order went down for a very, very long shot from T2K. But regardless, it was well placed. It was well played. They got into the building early enough and set up there and after. So very, very well done to Inco. Now sets them just a little bit behind S2G. Still, that lead is fairly strong.
4 Angry Men close to the 3 players from Vampire. Remember, they lost a player to a hot drop coming on through against T2K, who have now got 2 eliminations on the cards for this match. Match number 17. 4 Angry Men sharing Los Leones with them right now. Happily so as well. You don't really need to be too worried about having another team in Los Leones. There is plenty of space. You can house comfortably 3 squads in this location. And even then, 4 Angry Men, they're playing 2-2 split, so they're not even fully in there.
Taking a look around the map at the moment with this shift. Inco, central, the first time in a long time. This will give them some real agency into this game. This could be exactly what they wanted, what they needed, John.
Alpha 7 and DRS both on this eastern side. Potential for them to come into conflict on the hills of Impala. S2G near Picardo right now will be playing edge as well, but they're close to Fireflux, their Turkish counterpart, at the bottom of the tables to their south side. If S2G take a straight shot to the circle, they crash into Godlike Stalwart. Further than that, Wolves a little bit further south, but that western side has plenty of cover for them to operate around.
Influence Kevin coming in from the south, in the north. Vampire Esports down towards that south side. Remember, they are 3 players strong, purely off the back of that initial knock coming through from T2K. It's certainly caused some big problems for a lot of these teams at the moment. But S2G, like you said, John, coming in from Picardo, a difficult rotation for them to make. They're on the outside. So many other teams have already found these big compounds towards the center. We'll see if they can find themselves an area, a little crack, a crevice. They can squeeze themselves through, get towards a good position. They might be able to play out the end of this game. Remember, Miramar, definitely their best map here in the PMGC.
The fact that the gap between 1st and 11th place, Blank, is less than 50 points is incredible. Normally we see that sort of gap between 1st and 3rd. It is so tight. But S2G have that 19-point lead to be playing around for this game, which means they can be a bit quieter. But with Inco already on 3 eliminations in that central location, they cannot let it rest.
That's the real issue, right, is Inco being in a good spot. Because if Inco is able to catch up just a little bit, S2G's lead coming into that final game becomes the scariest thing. And this is what I'm talking about. The best team on Miramar by a landslide.
By far.
41-25. Turkish teammates over on Fireflux certainly making them look good. But look at that. 9k damage coming through from top on Stalwart. Closest behind them in Kelsey with 6,410. Top has certainly been putting the rest of the team on his back and just dragged, limbs dangling, through this PMGC to where they currently are, 137 points, a team that we cannot count out. And Godlike, they've been so hungry for this first place title in such a long time. We can't count them out at this point in time. And they're certainly sticking to their namesake. They are very much stalwart.
Circle shrinks again, leaves Los Leones in the dust. No settlement other than Impala right on that eastern side in the mix. DRS close to Alter Ego. DRS, remember, a chasing team, currently 19 points behind S2G. So every point would matter if they're able to pick up something sneaky here. Spotting the player starting to roll out from Alter Ego. A spray, looks for one, has to duck back behind because Pondbit's close by and knows that he'll be moving up to deal with it. Potato on that left flank for Rules to be worried about as well. And now Alter Ego can take this fight with knowledge.
There's going to be a real slow fight here for Alter Ego. For DRS, though, this is a real blockade that they did not want to see at this stage in the game, especially down towards the southeast side where, honestly, the terrain is very difficult to traverse. One knock goes through, though, over towards Alter Ego. Pombit down. Vampire Esports find one on towards Pick Feet.
The Wolves in their fairly central location will be under threat from a lot of angles. A second knock over towards Alter Ego for DRS. And the teams beneath S2G are circling. S2G on that southwest side, moving through Los Leones right now. Have not managed to pick up their feet and gain speed so far, but they are still 4 strong, and it's still very early doors in this Miramar. Stage 3. Too early to call.
Potato sits down, sits back. DRS effectively deals with the challenge in front of them. Doesn't even see a blockade as the front bumper smashes through it.
Potato has been spotted, laid broad as well. Mythic further up the hill, but Killer's more preoccupied.
Got that fancy feet, or at least the fancy knee work.
Doesn't get stolen away. That's another point for DRS. 3 eliminations now. And Mythic somehow gets away with the angle that he was holding. Crawls over to the rock, and Buradam are close by to see that it's even harder for Alpha 7. They've let it slip away just that little bit in 6th place, but they are still close enough for 2 matches to make a massive difference.
S2G take a real interesting rotation, actually slither in behind Fireflux down towards that south side. Play from that position. Looks good to me, in fact, because they'll have some higher ground to mess around with. Towards that northern side, that fielded area, real difficult to play. Impala still just about in. We could have those eastern shifts going through, but I doubt it at this stage of the game. I think our real contenders here that we are watching out for, 4 AM over towards the west. Just outside Vampire Esports, still with 4 players. A major sticking point for them is losing Svan early. Tends to go for these outrageous scouts recently, and I think that doesn't necessarily have to go for the best position in the circle, just go for a position where they can play as 4. They play as 4 much better together. I think Svan's trying to take a lot of these games into his own hands. Don't think that's necessary. We saw what they were able to do earlier with the power of that teamwork. But he is a key member of that team.
Could S2G be rotating in behind DRS here? There is an opportunity for them to potentially slow things down. Inco have managed to make their way central yet again, and they will be holding on the crossroads with the Chi Junction to their south, Buriram across the road. T2K behind them. It is treacherous every which way you look. 4 Angry Men. The only team in the top 5 yet to get an elimination apart from, well, S2G and 4 Angry Men. We've said that their playstyles feel fairly similar.
John, this position from Inco is not good. This is horrible. They would like to leave, and Buriram's got them dead to rights here. A few shots going through is all it takes, and I think that they're lacking the medical supplies. Either way they move, this is pretty much a graveyard for them. There's no coffins, but he's certainly covered with the hay inside that little shack they're playing in.
The saving grace they have right now is the fact that no one can really push them at this stage. But if they get spotted, that's kind of it. Inco, they have been spotted.
It's a horrific spot.
T2K open up. There's a shot back over towards Fireflux, but you've got to wonder if it's going to really make a difference. They are just getting picked apart here out in the open. There's nothing to do here. Vitali, last standing, might be able to stay alive as a solo, but that is Inco torn to shreds.
I mean, those 3 eliminations from earlier over towards Nova were decent. But taking a central position like this, and
up a point for it, and now there's shots over towards Godlike Stalwart they can take. They do need to have a route into the circle, and 2 knocks have been found. Scry loses a smoke, unsure about where to really be worried about, but Schwepp looks to mount up. They know there's knocks, they know there's chaos here. Fluke leads the charge, down and out wide. Vampire, remember, they lost a player early. Scry taken down on the opening run, and up to the vehicle they go. The burnt out husk of the pickup truck will be now their operating point. A lovely little shot around the edge, looks for more. Pika wants to heal, a breakout wide, gets punished, and now Godlike Stalwart down to 2 active. 1 knocked down onto the floor, Ravenclaw cut out of it. Unfortunately, T2K are just third-partying everywhere they can spot. Pika hiding under the hay. Somehow it's protecting him from the fire. Another nade could prove to be disastrous if it lands on the target. If it's on the money, it's good, but falls short just.
Schwepp sends one back, hopefully on target for Vampire. Another Molotov right into the crevice, but it goes far again, and Pika's going to send one back, and it's right next to them. Svan from 4 AM takes that shot over towards Schweppes. And it looks like 4 AM starting to rotate over towards this western side. You can see now Svan's on our screens, taking shots over towards inside that smoke, ensuring there's no players inside that one. Vitali also in the sights, but 4 AM will have to move further in. So will S2G. Calci currently behind DRS John, checking out their rotation, checking out their mark.
The res back south because Fireflux have managed to spot Svan.
Svan going down again. We said this earlier, is that is like a very bad thing for 4 AM to lose. Now S2G looking towards their position, rotating almost hand in hand with them. And now 4 AM to play without their star player. See if they can realign themselves, restabilize. Now S2G looking towards their position, rotating almost hand in hand with them. And now 4AM has to play without their star player. See if they can realign themselves, restabilize versus S2G. But that Mini 14 from CalC looks extremely dangerous, and Hamzy G equally on so with a beautiful spray from the M4. Needs to reload instantaneously. WWX gets out the way, but there's still targets available to him.
Out of the frying pan and into the fire, though, because DRS are across the road. Another team in the same situation. They both started on 140 points blank at the moment. DRS are ahead, but it is such a squeaky tight gap. As Fluke gets taken down. Another player knocked, and it's 1 versus 1. Ravenclaw, did he get spotted? I don't even know who took it down. It was Buradam with a third-party engagement, and Vampire will be denied.
Stalwart up to 3rd place now. 5 eliminations, 137 points. With that 5 at 142 now, just behind DRS in 2nd place. S2G still going strong though. No eliminations as of yet, but I think they're starting to encircle a lot of these teams down towards that south side, concocting a trap in this area for anyone to fall into, and already it's this ditch that S2G didn't quite push up towards, and 4AM has been forced to find themselves in. And S2G look to be more and more confirming their championship title as these matches go on. Who will challenge them? Will anyone challenge them?
DRS really the only team now that can really have a shot here. Alpha 7, they do have an outside chance, but S2G take a knock to a nade. It's actually going to DRS as well. Silas might be resible here. The last player from 4AM is just over this ridge from Hamzy. Spots the backpack, and that should be curtains for 4 Angry Men. Shuts them down on 140 points, and in comes a push. Buradam and IHC going head to head. Kengzo close by. Look at a maybe look for a heal. Try and get something done. Tiger is there as well. Does manage to pop the heal from Kengzo, but the burn from Alex sees Tiger low. Last player standing needs to confirm that heal. Kengzo wants the reses as well.
IHC. So around the side, Kengzo,
oh no,
doesn't even want to take a moment to breathe, and that might just be curtains for Buradam. That moment of unbridled aggression coming through from Kengzo spelt their downfall. Fireflux still going nicely on the edge at the moment, but they will have to move further in towards that circle. Vitali in the mess.
Further ahead of them. There's a foothold there. Solke moving closer to the position for S2G. As time goes on, S2G don't need to get too many more points. The placements will start to add up from them, and they had that 19-point buffer to play with. 10 points a game. If they can reach that margin, nobody can catch them. Turkish team. 7th place, 2 eliminations. It's not the biggest points total, and could open a window for DRS to try and pry their way in.
DRS is 4 right now. On the southeast side, Hamzy G falls. Will be confirmed, and now the turkey sandwich closer than ever here. Closer than ever here. A bit worried about this.
I'll be aware of who it is now, certainly. Nades keep on going in long. That is right on the money, but just finds some cover, I think, around the edge of that buggy wheel. Somehow. Doesn't do too much there. And Razy continues the bombardment, continues that pressure. Fireflux have slowed it down quite a lot. Solus has broken out quite wide as well. And a line has been established, but they do have to go further. The zone will push them in as well. And a line has been established, but they do have to go further. The zone will push them in. 3 players active, live and kicking for S2G. Solus rolls forward into Kelsey's crosshairs and shut down with the M4. The reload is good as well, and no one there to refrag. Ketch and Lutz maybe lining up here as Razy swings out around the side of the smoke. Could be caught out to a cheeky little stand-up by Solke, but he's biding his time with the smoke on the cover. Kelsey How is he still alive? Have they not spotted him? Solke either way steps up and Razy takes him down, and one player left for S2G. They will fall to Fireflux. 5 eliminations for DRS, 2 eliminations for S2G, a 6th place finish. It's not going to be a massive points game for them, and that 19-point buffer will be eaten into now.
DRS can definitely take this even further, with the circle not shutting them out just yet. It's getting a little bit terrifying. Law, last remaining influence, Kevin will be taken down by Alpha 7 here. Brazilian team looking to get back on form towards that top side, have a chance in that final game of today. Certainly still doable for Alpha 7. IHC off in the distance. Next circle will decide all. There is so much interesting terrain in this final circle. But I'd say northeast, northwest and the south, whichever side this circle decides to center up on, it should win, but it goes right towards the center and everyone's forced to push into unfamiliar ground. But A7 made that move early. Proactive gameplay. We know how fast, slick these guys are with it.
Alpha 7 have got such a good stronghold now with those silos to use as cover. They can have some pretty significant control. All that it's going to take is IHC having to leave the high ground on the compound that they hold for them to be isolated. And that's going to happen fairly soon. The zone about to shut in about 10 seconds from now. Black Fireflux south side will need to push in past DRS. They played spoiler to their countrymen, and now DRS on the chase. Can they reignite the S2G hope?
Fireflux send in DRS. Giante looks out the window, takes some shots. Lutz is already down to rules, and DRS are holding pretty well already. Lutz already out of the picture, but rules gets taken down. But look at this, Alpha 7 off in the distance. They're sending in, they're taking no chances.
They're fighting off against Fireflux, though, not DRS, which means that there is still another contender against their spot to be worried about. Gianti is split from the rest of the roster. Ketch is allowed to get this res onto Solus, as Gianti not quite finding the utility. There is a burn there, could spread. They do need to move, but he wants to put more into the mixing bowl. Solke low on the outside of this engagement, spotted out by Delta, and 7 eliminations now for DRS. This is big, 4th place already, a 19-point differential between them and the top dogs, S2G, and they want to get more done, but Ketch has other ideas. Forced into the burn. I'm not too sure what you're trying to do there, Ketch, but we'll go down to the play zone, and DRS is still going. 3rd place now, a 17-point minimum game for DRS.
10 eliminations for Fireflux on that one. That might see them a bit further up the rankings, and no longer, sadly, in that 16th place. Revo moving up, spots the smokes, knows there's got to be players around this location now. Just about spotted that shoulder peeking out from the top of the smoke. DRS might be going down here in 3rd place. Mythic behind, waiting, ready, raring to go.
If either Alpha 7 or DRS take a chicken dinner here, this is huge for the top of the tables.
S2G's got to be a little bit more worried. So unfortunate, but for the rest of the tournament, S2G has been absolutely stellar here on Miramar, and it's match 5, day 3, where they dropped the ball with it. This was meant to be their hope over on match 5. That would give them some decent points, knowing that they are the kings of Miramar. But at the moment they've been dethroned. There's been a betrayal, and the red carpet stained more red by S2G.
The more Alpha 7 can get, the better it looks for a Brazilian playing team to have a chance here. They started off so strong. Remember, the first day ended with the Brazilian 1-2-3. Inco, Alpha 7, Influence, Kemin all at the top of the tables. We thought Alpha 7 might have dropped off, say 2, but day 3 has been good to them. 5 eliminations now as they wither IHC stepping up towards them. Carrillo wants to take the fight aggressively. It's characteristic
Delta
of Alpha 7, but a nade over to Mythic on the off angle might give them second thought, might give them pause here.
Points, they know they need points, and they can confirm it is good. Anything they can get at this stage of the game is brilliant, but they lose another. Alpha 7's down to just 2, and it looks like Delta's cutting out the vehicles
from Alpha 7 now. Revo in the back. The clutch maestro from Alpha 7 looks to maybe 1v2 versus DRS, but this could still be a chicken dinner for them as we even the tide here just a little bit.
It could go any way right now. Stage 9 is closing in 5 seconds. Most central, IHC's position at this stage, Alpha 7, will be cut out by the line that IHC have established. Demo is there, but that's spotted by Killer. A beautiful opening pick for DRS to try and move away from this roadside that they've held for so long. But Revo is there for the refrag. And 3 players for Alpha 7 now back in and healthy versus 2 from IHC and 1 from DRS. IHC with 2, Godless, Seol, both looking to rotate around into the buggy. It might be a mad send. Killer needs to get rezzed here, and Delta will try and stick that one.
The blue is going to push them at some point. Refrag Revo has to do something special. Going forward, Carrillo, Mafioso. For a bit more, he already finds 1. Delta starts to crawl through. Positions himself just slightly past that cylinder there to make sure he can spot him, but already Godless finds Carrillo. For Revo, it's really important to find that pick over towards Delta, but he's helping out the rest of his team. How much further can DRS get?
Crawling up from the pits, all these teams with so much to play for, scrambling over one another.
Okay.
And it's Alpha 7 to push DRS's head under and keep themselves afloat. In Miramar, 3 versus 3. Carrillo taking an aid from Demo, and IHC might slow things down. And make it a little bit closer, but Revo is not going to let that happen to his team. Not here, not now, but he might not have a choice. Godless moves in, and Demo at his back. It's Mafioso to go, and IHC take it away from both DRS and Alpha 7. Blank, the top of the tables, is so tight.
It is unbelievable right now. Tighter than a yoga store. I can't believe what I'm seeing at the moment. But I'm ready to watch some more over in match 6.
Oh my goodness me.
It's going to be a disgusting ending to this tournament. I mean, I am not sure who is going to win, but I'm sure it's going to be absolutely electric when we get to that last game.
So many teams with a chance here, Blank. It's got to be at least 5 teams in one game who can win this out. At least that trophy sat
Everyone's
in
got
between
tips.
every single team at this stage here in Jakarta. It's so close.
What we do know is that the 3P is not on the line. It's going to be a new champion this year. And what better year to have a new champion than the year of improvements, of evolving throughout the entirety of the scene, throughout all the countries, all the regions. Everyone's getting better. And it just shows that the 5.5 points average towards the bottom of the table is just unheard of most of the time.
Incredible stuff coming through on Miramar, and IHC the ones to take it home, right? I don't think you would have called it, but either way,
no,
they slow out the
not.
7 and everybody else around them as well. IHC take the chicken dinner. We're going to head over to the analyst desk.
What an absolutely crazy performance coming out from IHC. Somehow they win that late game fight. And I was so worried for IHC in the early stages of the game. Win that fight against Buriram, because that's where it all started.
The unsung heroes. I mean, this is what I was kind of talking about, right? The spoiler roles that were going to be coming into play at one point, and that just happened. Alpha 7 had a chance to put themselves, actually, I mean, they still put themselves in a great position if they would have gotten that win. By the way, Revo, we got to give him some credit. He played out of his mind in that game, and he definitely did a lot to keep Alpha 7 there within the top 2.
Yeah, Revo absolutely chef's kiss in that game. Absolutely something of beauty. But S2G, the fact that they go out earlier than a lot of those teams towards the end enables a lot of the teams to still have a shot for that first place, for that trophy to claim to be the best team in the world. And they're taken down by their Turkish brethren of Fireflux. I think that qualifies 7 as treason.
I think it does. And what's crazy is that those two teams are just so used to playing against each other. If there was a team to take down S2G at that moment, it would be another Turkish team, right? You couldn't write anything more poetic than that. And I want to kind of go back a little bit more with S2G because we saw them making some weird rotations. We saw them playing super passive, like they were trying to go for those placement points, and I feel like it definitely backfired in a way. And it's something that I always hate to see when teams do. They decide to just switch it up, and it ends up hindering them. I'm hoping going into this last game, that is not the case for S2G.
That playstyle could have worked out for SGG if they were able to survive a little bit longer, get more eliminations. The fact that DRS survived so long into this game, the fact that Alpha 7 got so many points, they're back in the race, they don't have that cushion anymore. They're not safe anymore. Teams down below them can still catch up.
27 points on IHC with the chicken dinner, 12 eliminations in that game as well. And I do want to have to highlight Alex. His performance, his fight against Buridam kept them in the game. And Alpha 7-7, 19 points as well in second place. They're still very much in the race.
They are very much in the race. I mean, those 7 eliminations, I don't even know how many of those eliminations were actually from Revo, but the 19 points total, that's massive. You were just talking about it too, Max. DRS Gaming, 18 points, and Godlike Star Wars with those 18 points as well. I mean, like, I think Blank said it best. It might come down to 5 different teams having a chance at getting that first place.
Yeah, I think it's going to be 5-6 teams. I am so hyped to see exactly what the leaderboards are going to be looking like right now. But, I mean, DRS, we call them like a more silent team, but they've been ramping things up to the point where today they're getting banger after banger. After banger. Nepal are looking just so good. And T2K, they're like the third-party turrets in the lobby. They're just almost assisting DRS in some way, shape, or form.
And for me, one of the teams that I kind of gonna a small shout-out to has to be ENQUIRY Gaming. They had the lead at the start of the day. I felt like that team definitely started to crumble there under the pressure of the last and final day. And another one is that we are not going to have a three-peat anymore. Nova out first.
Oh yeah, that was a heavy fight to watch. Honestly, my heart was bleeding just a little bit there because that was the point where everyone realized it's not going to happen again. It's not going to be a 3P. Coming back to one of the teams that's I also want to talk about, which is the fight from SG against Fireflies. You just talked about it. They just took themselves out. SG still took home 6 points though, so they are probably still in the lead, and we only have one more game to go. Does that mean we might see a little bit of a hot drop scenario? Maybe some teams looking out for them in the kill feed? We're going to see some tactic switch-ups?
We do like to speculate about hot drops happening in, like, you know, your PMPL finals, in your championships, in your PMWI.
Now.
We are talking about a PMGC Grand Finals here. Do you want to play it all on a hot drop? That's too much for me to answer.
I'll tell you after I see this overall with... Oh, okay.
It is close.
S2G, 165 points, DRS Gaming.
17.
Okay,
I would say 17.
7.
Right down to IHG. Like, of course, you're going to need a chicken dinner and teams at the top to get nothing, but that is going to be my limit. 7 teams currently in the race.
Okay, IHG is definitely out for me. For Angry Man, I can definitely see a chance from there. Everybody from up there, I can definitely see them going for that first place. For S2G, I said it earlier, I don't want to see that them trying to play it differently than how they've been doing. Keep doing what you were doing there when you were getting those wins, when you were getting those great placements, when you were getting those eliminations that put you currently where you are in that first place. With DRS, I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better for DRS. A team that 2 of their chicken dinners are coming from Erangel as we go into the last Erangel. It couldn't be more poetic for them. And then you guys were talking about hot drops. You guys were talking about teams that need to be careful about that happening. Guess what? I'm going to be looking at all the teams here in this second pitch because at this point, they got nothing to lose. Influence Chairman, I mean, a team that went from 3rd place all the way down to 16, you better believe that team from Brazil is going to be looking to make a statement, and I would be massively surprised if nobody decides to hot drop anybody.
At this point, you're just fighting for glory. You're fighting for prize pool increase going into this because you have some pretty... It's still no $4 million prize pool tournament. That's pretty significant. But as you can see on your screens right now, it's the final game right here for the grand finals of 2022 PMGC. Oh boy, 16 teams all ready to drop on down, and only one will call themselves the champions after this one.
It is absolutely crazy. Let's look at some of the expected drop locations. And meanwhile, we have the last couple of minutes to maybe talk about the overall situation. I know you said top 7 is maybe, you know...
It's a stretch.
It is
really a stretch.
That would mean IHC really does have the opportunity. IHC, isn't that one of the teams? But coming back to the hot drop scenario, they would need to have everyone in that top scenario to do incredibly bad. Would you say that's how they should go into this match as well? Literally just pick every fight from every team that you know is the top of you and maybe just go for it. Isolated fight. Let's take it.
You know, I'm going to agree with your point. I think that if there's one team that's currently in the race for that first position that has to go for a hot drop, IHG is the team that would make the most sense, right? So
Yeah.
we'll see if it's going to happen once again. I would say maybe don't go for it, because even if you do go for the hot drop, even if you do win it, you maybe lose a player. You lose 2 players. They need a chicken dinner for this one. You're taking a risk that I think you want to avoid. So I would say, even if the idea is to go for the hot drop, don't do it. Aim for the win. Play a normal game, the game that you just did previously, to get that chicken dinner on Miramar, and that might be just enough to make the cut.
Go for the hot drop. Come on. Just give it to me.
Okay, screw it. Okay.
I really want to see a hot drop as well. I mean, at the very biggest stages like this one, I think we've very rarely, if ever, seen that. So that would be definitely an interesting thing to watch. Let's look at the teams to watch from both of you. You have, except for SG, you have different teams. Maybe starting off with SG, because obviously they're in the league. Maybe I want to put you on the spot, actually. Give me some percentage of how likely it is that you think they're going to take home this PMG Grand Final. How sure are you?
Right now, I would say, I mean, with the amount of competition, you got DRS that's been looking super consistent, you got God like Star Wars not being too far away, so many top contenders. I would say we have a 33.333 repeating 3%
Really?
chance. 1/3.
Okay. All right. I actually have my like a solid 69 to 70%.
I was going to say nice, but then you went 70%, so not anymore. Unfortunate. Nice try.
Going over, godlike Starwood though for you, Max, man. I mean, you just talked about that consistency. Anything else?
I'm still wearing the jersey. Okay, it's keeping me warm. Okay, it's still keeping me warm right now. I appreciate it. God like Star Wars, please sponsor me. But I want to see them be on top right now. They had the Grand Finals curse happening for the longest time, Seven. Okay, stop laughing at me. Stop it. I want to see them take themselves the win right here. If they take the chicken dinner, they had no chicken dinners the entire event. It would be something of pure beauty for them to not only get himself a chicken dinner on the last game, but also claim the trophy towards the very end of the Grand Finals.
It would be. I mean, for me, it's going to have to be Alpha 7. Just like you are with God like Star Wars. I would have to pick Alpha 7 too. I mean, they just showed up what they're able to do, especially Rebel after that last game. If he's not going to pop off in the next game, then it's definitely going to be over for that team. But S2G, I said it earlier, I'm going to say it again, just because I don't want to see it. I don't want to see them playing differently than how they usually play. I don't want them to be overthinking this scenario of what's going to be, what are the other teams going to be doing. I do wish, though, that they change where they land, and I do hope that they change where they usually tend to rotate, because I'm pretty sure some of the other teams might be trying to play that spoiler role.
Yeah, I mean, I like what you just said right there. Just play your typical, good old, basic PUBG Mobile that you've been doing so far, that's been giving you so much success in these games. When you start overthinking things, well, look at that knockoff effect. That previous game got obliterated. Unfortunately, it's 5 flux, but it got obliterated, right? So just play a typical game, play what you do best, which is going for good rotations and now getting those eliminations when you're in strong positions. That's what allowed them to stand out, and that might be the reason why they can call themselves the world champions.
And for DRS, I said it too, you couldn't ask for anything better. Going into the last game, going into Erangel, going into a map that you have been able to, in a way, dominate. Today they have had semi-good performances there too. If they can just put themselves in a position where they can strike at the end. We saw some great 2-2 splits there too in Miramar that were wonderful. This team has what it takes, and that's why I wasn't going to be giving the 100% to SG for them to be able to take it home, because I definitely think if it's going to be DRS, then it's going to be Alpha 7 that can maybe take this.
Talking about good rotations and consistency, something that we hadn't touched on, and we won up before we get into the last game. For Angry Man, because they have been popping off today as well. They got their first chicken dinner, and they do have a chance at being PMGC final winners as well. Any thoughts on 4AM? Do that just have to continue like this? Or
on that previous game, I felt like they were a little bit desperate. Like, they really wanted to get in circle. They really wanted to get in a really strong position, which I fully understand. But unfortunately, in a lot of times, especially for PUBG Mobile Esports, desperation can cause a lot of issues, can cause a lot of mistakes. And in that case, that's what did cause their demise over there on Miramar. Just go in with a calm, paused mind. You might be able to make it work out. We know what this team can do, especially with the knowledge of Svan. This team is pure gold when it comes to their peak performances. You've got to be careful, man. You cannot overthink your situation. You need to be calm, cool, and collected.
Yeah, sadly for them, Asvan has been getting knocked a lot in the past couple of games, so hopefully that's going to be changing. Hopefully he can stay alive and put up a performance that he was able to put up when they actually got the chicken dinner earlier today, because he was a massive reason why they ended up with that win. And Godlike Stalwart, I got to bring him in a little bit too, because I feel like this is a team that has been struggling with indecisiveness, whether they're going to be able to be aggressive or not be aggressive. We've seen what they are able to do now with the aggressiveness that they have showcased. And I kind of want to put you on the spot, Max, a little bit here, since you are the #1 fan of Godlike Star Wars. You are. Come on.
That's true. I am.
Their Twitter page knows. Would you want to see Godlike Star Wars continue with the aggressiveness that they've been playing, or a little bit more passiveness?
I think Star Wars is at their best when they're aggressive, so that's a big yes. I want to see them keep fragging out. Keep on going, boys.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time. We have the last game of PMGC 2022 finals in our hands, and it is once again time to also hand it over to the commentary desk, John Allen and Blank. It's been an absolute pleasure. Take this away.
Thank you so much, Alex, and the rest of the desk. I'm so excited for this last game. Match 18 is just around the corner with less than a minute to go before the plane flies for the last time of the 2022 PUBG Mobile season. Oh, it's all to play for. It could not be tighter.
It's real nerve-wracking right now for a lot of these teams, for a lot of these players. We saw the camera shots. We saw some of these guys. There was praying going on. There was the full anime no L sitting coming from S2G. They are nervous, and no reason not to be at this point in time. But S2G, they have what it takes. It would be an incredible win for S2G. They could all right now. 165 points currently at the moment. They're 7 points ahead of DRS. Alpha 7 behind them at 153. S2G need to live here. There are a couple of other teams that might be able, with a gigantic win for ENQUIRY and Godlike Star Wars potentially. But right now we're looking at the top three. S2G, DRS, Alpha 7. This is it. This is now. This is where they become the champions, the new champions of PMGC.
Over not even on the front page of the overall standings at this time. With not enough done. And not enough left in the tank. You're right, it's looking good that we could crown a new champion. To lift the trophy, sparkling in its glory. And now in Jakarta, the last path seeks its way from Novo to the Midwest Coast.
Southside by Nova. Like I said, West Side Coast, we've seen this full time. We've seen it towards the centre of the map. We've seen it towards the northern side. This is something that the players are all used to here in Jakarta. Ready to play out their final game. These final important 30 minutes. Of those 30 minutes, those darts better be pumping. Those swingers better be darting. We better be looking at the champion that deserves it all here at the end of this match.
Drum heralded. Only time will tell now. Who will take this one home? SGE defending all of today. As we drop out DRS over near Milta, put it down, going to be dropping a little bit longer than they are. So we can still for a little bit of sneaky. Steps there. Echo off the ball, but they're not completely out of it just yet. You've said they've got more to worry about in those top three spots.
Inco, though, this path, it really ruins their chances so many times. We've seen a few times now where they drop on, and it looks like they've gone for a bit of a lineup over on this south coast as opposed to trying to drop all in one spot. I like that, I respect that. And I bet it's even further behind at the moment. No one seems to be close to them. On the other hand, UTK, S2G, very close together. Wolves will be dropping towards Pachinki, though. I think for S2G, they've got a little bit of a lone soldier out towards that western side, just south of 4 AM. Alpha 7, in their drop spot down towards the power, they're back up as opposed to North George. They've been forced to play this one a fair few many times here on our angle. Having to switch from the normality of themselves. For S2G, on the other hand, this seems pretty easy for them because they drop towards the centre of the map. They're pretty used to playing this type of game outwards. It doesn't really change too much on this playing path for the team. It's a bit of a lot of good drop for everyone. It's the same deal.
The advice given by Nenebete at the end of day one, breathe. That's how you can make work. Hopefully everybody is paying attention, brushed up on their Brazilian, because they need to heed that information, heed that advice now. Such a crucial time for the top spots, and the tables so tightly packed. Nobody over a 10-point average, and nobody under a 5-point average. This is the closest final we have ever seen.
It has never been nail-biting quite like this. The popcorn is flying everywhere at the moment. Some of it's not even meeting mouths. It's on the floor. And all these teams are worried. Those little moments, those little mistakes that might come through, but this is the game where you shore up everything. You make sure every single hole is patched up. There's not a single leak in the ship. You can keep on trucking, keep on sailing, because the waves, they are roaring, they are high, and the waters are not easy. But smooth sailing does not make good sailors here in the PMGC.
Hold fast to the wheel. Call strong to your team. And look to the horizon. On the tables, there is a top three clear at the moment. Looking at how it stands, DRS with 2 chicken dinners win tiebreakers. Unless one of the other 2 teams, S2G or Alpha 7, takes the chicken dinner here, that could be important. DRS, remember, they would win a tiebreaker if it came down to it.
Alter ego, as per usual, nice and centre. Influence coming towards Yas. Now 7 passing by Buradam, but getting slightly ahead of them. Now Alpha 7, we've seen that they found it a little bit difficult to keep up on that streak sometimes, and the momentum looks good, but it starts to falters hard, so losing a player early like this would be terrible news. Luckily, they quickly swing the wheel to the left and veer off to the western side, on towards where Inco and Alter Ego are currently playing, taking a central spot within the circle.
Vampire, they got back-to-back chicken dinners today. They started down in a dump 16th place, and I feel like it wasn't what they deserved, and I think they showed that in matches 3 and 4 of the day.
I think a team like that needs to really find their feet much sooner, though. Can't be looking down and watching where you step. You need to be firmly planting those feet, your eyes out towards the future. A lot of times, Vampire took too long to make those changes. We talked about it. Making those changes on day 3 and looking absolutely sublime just does not cut it, especially in this PMGC where every single team is horribly strong.
This is the best quality gameplay we have seen. So much improvement trying to be made this year. Such excitement for next. But who will be that defending champion? Who will be able to mount that on, to raise the trophy here in Jakarta? S2G so desperately would love it to take the trophy to Turkey and scream to the world, come and get it.
But the pressure's on now, and it's debilitating, especially being in first place at the moment. Looking down on the rest of the teams, seeing how close they are, how quick they are climbing, and how gritted their teeth are in the process. That is when you can become quite terrified. When you can just look towards the top of the mountain, it becomes a little bit easier. All you have to do is continue
to move those hands up, to keep gripping those handholds and pulling yourself further up that leaderboard. But for S2G, kicking down and trying to keep those assailants away from them becomes quite tricky, because not only that, you're also trying to keep a handhold yourself. Circle over towards this eastern side now. Looking at some of these positions on the map, S2G have moved across. HC are behind them on that western side. After a good chicken dinner, they obviously are feeling quite good about themselves, and I think S2G may have to worry about that. Surrounded by Nova on the southwest. Influence came into the north. In the meantime, Alpha 7 moved down to a compound just on the south side of the Yasnaya fields. Next circle should be popping soon, one of our hardest shifts out of all the circles in this game. And this will determine a lot of where these players will have to move and where they'll have to go. A lot of times we have seen quite a clear position either on the north or south side of the river. This time we'll go all the way over towards the east, towards Yaz. Very bare and empty position on the map. Not a lot of places available. A lot of these teams already in though, but again, S2G looking for those big points, big numbers. They're all the way on this western edge. A northern rotation could work here, John.
Plenty of options for them, but moving over the tundra of Yasnaya Polyana Fields on the south side is so barren and difficult to use. Far from ideal. S2G move up to potentially control Yaz Bridge. If they can find 4 AM on the cross, it would be a great result. Not only would they be able to accrue the points for it, but take out an outside chance to overtake them in 4 Angry Men. 141 points to their 165. Sure, it's a bit of a long shot at 24-point difference, but
we've seen crazier things.
We definitely have.
I think holding on to this bridge crossing as well is smart. 4 AM's forced down towards that south side. It clears up even more of the northern edge, meaning that S2G's rotation is even easier, and this is what makes them the #1 team in the lobby so far, is they're always thinking steps ahead at the moment. Alpha 7 take a knock. Disastrous start this game. Luckily, there should be a res onto this one. Carrillo drops the smoke, but out in the open currently Alpha 7 is. Influence came in. Shouldn't be able to capitalise on this one too much. Send a couple of shots through. Carrillo will position the buggy in front to ensure that this res does happen, and then maybe just dip out of there.
Carrillo looking for the res over onto Mafioso. Super important for them to stay as a team. Back over to the buggy, staying alive. Got like Stalwart clashing with Eekfam. As S2G do not stop 4 Angry Men from moving south, as the bridge that they chose was a different one. Instead, though, Ching Chen might have spotted S2G looking out for the hold on the northern side. Ray Z, oh my goodness me, he's so open. Takes a shot, takes a hit, and back to cover. Such an important little top down there. Ching Chen could have had such an impact.
Very quick reactions. Razy was all on his lonesome because Silas is currently scouting down towards that middle, scouts towards Alpha 7's position, make sure that that is in fact taken. And now they have a little bit more information to play around with. Could head towards Yasnaya. Next circle soon. This game is going quickly now, John. Much quicker than you might have thought it would. That's just what happens when the excitement builds to a crescendo now and boils over the top. Little boy will take down T2K Jane on the cross. It looks like we will be heading to this horrific area of the map, to that north side, the fielded area. Not many playable spots there, but Alpha 7 super happy with this one. Still has a decent position on the map towards the center to play around. S2G also still in, but will have to regroup.
Influence came in on the north side. Yasnaya is their drop spot. Should be familiar with the terrain, playing 2-2 split. Ooh, as S2G moved through to the center. Silas is scouting. Is going to pay out here.
Moving down, actually might be a decent compound for S2G to head towards, but Silas is unfortunately cut short. And now they have to go against 4 AM. That's just 3. This is terrible news. DBS in hand of Ray Z already. One very low. Has to hit this shot. Does.
This is great news for S2G.
Ching Chen's angle could be pivotal for 4 angry men up on the hill. Kalsi and Hamzi a little bit further back. The flush is good with the burn from the Molotov. Good Xiao and Svan both launching nades on through, and Kalsi gets tagged. Svan finds Kalsi on the sidelines, and Good Xiao wants to put another one in. Through the window there, ricochets off burst close, but the burn is brilliant. A lot of damage found, instantly has to pop it. The nade in through the window, doesn't quite get the knock, and Svan is low on the upstairs, but Ray-Z in with the DBS, spots the heel. You cannot get away from him. He is on the hunt, looks for more as well, finds the nade in hand, and it will not be found. Svan is shutting down the Ray-Z.
Oh my God!
He is vengeance. He is the knight, and S2G have Ray-Z to thank.
2 knocks though still went through. There has to be a quick regroup, a quick refresh from them. T2K is off in the distance. They still have more to go here. Ray-Z takes a tag. Kalsi's going to have to hold on for a little bit longer. And Silas still nowhere to be seen. That one tyre been popped out the back was disastrous for the team, but Ray-Z brought it back together for them.
T2K a major threat at the back now. On the north side, Alter Ego, centre. A little bit further south, Alpha 7, slap bang in the middle, a major barrier. But the big news here, 4 points for S2G.
That's a point, so they'll put them to 169 right now. DRS Alpha 7 yet to find anything during this game. All players back up on their feet. Ray-Z has just pulled S2G back from the brink. With a DBS, he looked unstoppable. Rolling through like thunder on the stairs. I don't think 4AM knew what hit him, but they are now out of the running. A potential chance at the top 5, and 4AM will cut short by S2G, who has had the time of their lives during this PMGC tournament from day 1 through to day 3.
Consistency, and they ramp it up. S2G, so difficult to handle. And we will not see a Chinese champion either. That much is for sure. The circle shift comes through.
Wolves, Nova, all passing through up towards Silas's position now. Hamzi G realises he has to move down and support. But all through this game, S2G's been fairly split. They need to get back together. Looks like they will grab their teammate and run back to safety, back to regroup. Nova, order. Fireflux feeling the pain.
They played spoiler since S2G in the last game, but Nova might be too tall an order for them. However, they have gone fairly even, but Fireflux falter. And they play split. They split their attention, and Solus rolls in so late to this fight. Falls flat on the face, and Fireflux fail to go any further.
Fireflux going down here. Alter Ego, Influence Kevin, both having a chance now to put up some more points and pass out of the 15th and 16th place. But all eyes right now on Alpha 7, S2G and DRS. Outside on the east, Inco still have to move from a compound that they thought was strong down towards the southeast. Unwilling to head central, but DRS losing 1. Bad news for them. Playing with 3. Not ideal at this stage in the game. Zone 4, it's too early.
DRS diminished. In the face of it all, a team that I don't think anyone really at the start of this would have called to be here in second place with a chance to take the top spot in the final match. But here they stand, and Nepal behind them.
Exactly, they've really shown the strength of Nepal, but Inco taking horrible casualties as they move through, cut apart by Stalwart. Nenabete hits the deck. There's still players available for Inco, but Stalwart decides to try and get ahead of the pack, try and get ahead of the movement, and Nenabete will fall as Pika quickly makes that movement. Becker now tries to support from up high, but it looks like Inco is going to have an even worse time.
There must be trouble ahead for Inco. And indicative of their performance here in the finals. They slow and they falter in this final game. DRS, though, with a crucial challenge, losing it down to Delta. Could this be the first contender out?
Oh, God!
Delta somehow dodges the wheel, but a hop out and the bullets are there. And S2G have less to worry about now. Alpha 7 poised in a central spot. The only team now really with a big chance, as Godlike Stalwart have more to deal with than they'd like.
Inco is out. They cannot go much further anymore. DRS also down. The two teams that displayed great central play and great edge play will finally fall. Can DRS hold on to their second place spot? Or will Alpha 7 overtake them?
A shift away, and Alpha 7 will have to leave. Godlike Stalwart, 5 eliminations and 4 alive. But S2G in a God compound here, delivered at their doorstep on the precipice of victory here in Jakarta.
So close to it. DRS feels like the pressure got to them just a little bit. I don't think I've ever seen them falter that badly on our angle before. But still, an outstanding performance from them this tournament. Any Nepali fans should be proud of what they've achieved here. Stalwart looking for the final members of Budadam to close this one out. Already 7 eliminations. Stalwart want to take this game further, up to 150 points, make that 151. 2 points behind now of Alpha 7 at the start of this game.
2 points separates them from that third place position. And they will be just that little bit further behind the top. And with S2G still as 4 as they are, it's unlikely to change too much. S2G, if they make top 5 in this match, that should be enough for them. As Godlike Stalwart want to rewrite the fate. Tug on the threads and try and control whatever they can. Alter Ego on the west side of the circle. Rez needed after a self-made, unfortunate. IHC wanting to push in. 3 players active, 3 players alive, with the Rez still going through it as even, but it immediately comes back up. But once more shut down, the lineup is good. Another player was knocked on the inside, and Alter Ego fall down to 1. And the last will find no more room to play. S2G picking up a bunch of these points.
Stealing them from on far as well. GeekFam will also fall, unfortunately for the home crowd. Now Alter Ego and GeekFam out. Stalwart lose a player here. Pika now out, leaving Stalwart at 3 players going forwards. Alpha 7 moves a little bit further in, but their eastern side, it's looking tricky. It's looking pocked with teams and players all looking for a little bit more. Mythic spots that position over towards S2G, but that spot is just so good. They knew they had to fight for it versus 4AM, and arguably, if they take this game, they have Ray Z to thank.
4 eliminations from Ray Z in that first engagement. The DBS louder than ever. In match 18, 7 eliminations total. The lead stretches away. The stride is hit. And S2G may have already done enough. Alpha 7, though, want to challenge that. Knock over onto Scribe, bringing Godlike Stalwart down to 2. A nade over top from Revo confirms the point. And Alpha 7 begin their march, grim as it may be.
Pushing back Stalwart. They do not want to give up this top 3. IHC, the only others, would be able to challenge it, but they're far behind at this point. Stalwart down to 2 players. Alpha 7, a second place they'd be happy with at this point in time. For Brazil, it would be a wonderful result. But can they go even further? But with 8 eliminations from S2G, I don't know how likely it will be. Ray Z up to 6 eliminations, 9 total now.
3 for Kelsey, 6 for Ray Z. Is there anything anyone can do? The compound so strong. Vampire cowed behind any cover they can cling on to. And Alpha 7 just don't have the points to stand up to it.
They need something huge right now, and they haven't started to make that jump up. And the amount of eliminations available inside the lobby is starting to dwindle just a little bit. And all the while, S2G is picking up more and more. Hamzy will find the knock over towards Vampire Esports. They have eyes on. This God compound is disgusting. Circle moves their way once again. What a finish here for the PMGC. 10 eliminations, unstoppable. They were unstoppable about 10 minutes ago.
175 points already found. A monumental ask for Alpha 7 to be able to overtake them. Godlike Stalwart maybe, and in comes Alpha 7 for the run. Vampire looking to hold them off and maybe play spoiler. The Brazilian roster fall apart and it's Vampire to pick them up. That might be it. S2G have no one else. Is there no one else?
Will no one else challenge this team? I think not at this point in time. Stalwart with 2 players remaining. The Turkish casters, the Turkish analysts, they're waving flags on this side. They know it's all but over.
The top spot sat proudly upon right now, with only Godlike Stalwart far in the rear-view mirror. One more twist and turn is all it'll take for S2G to raise the trophy.
And S2G are looking for them right now. They have eliminated so many and so much of the competition during this one game. I thought they looked nervous, far from it. They were prepared, ready to do what necessary to take home the trophy, to take it back to Turkey and guard it like a dragon.
Spray out into the open and stay alive, survive. The Wolves, the only other team, as 4, and they're trapped right on the south side. Next circle, looking to shrink. Where will we find it? Finally it moves away from S2G, but blank, it's too little too late to stop them now.
Closing this out with a chicken dinner would be beautiful. Already a knock over towards T2K, and the dominance continues. A 1-2 punch, and T2K sent out of the ring. An uppercut so deadly. The force from it can be felt from here.
The sightline's known. Godlike Stalwart will have to move. Ray-Z gets knocked, but nothing can dampen their spirits at this stage. Hamzy, Silas, under pressure from Alex Shaw, but IHC will have to leave their spot too.
Spirits bolstered by titanium, as you say, John. It's going to be very hard to pierce this bubble. S2G are living the high life now, and they just want to close this game out for fun.
12 eliminations. Potential to break records here. And the run from Silas and Kelsey to lead the charge to IHC. They want to take this fight. They want to move through. Like sharks, they will not stop. Kelsey with a nade. Wants to heal before the fight. And the rest of S2G regroup on the ridgeline with cover.
They even brought motorbikes for the end game. They knew what they were doing.
Spots action. Hamzy. They turn their attention back to the backstab. Everybody else is on this south side, so it is only Godlike Stalwart out there, out in the open, as the Wolves take a fight with Vampire. Over the wall they go, into the breach once more. Silas inside, Ray-Z to follow. Ziol on the top rope, Godless and Alex outside. 3 players from IHC are here and around the ground floor of the building. They will find their fight. Will it be the final one? Only time will tell. Alex puts Kelsey to bed, but Alex is traded off. Will not be flushed just yet. Godless last standing, and S2G have one more to deal with. They stay alive. All 4 of them go, and it is not going to stop here. The Terminators from Turkey crunch down on IHC. Nova up to bat. Is it the last? Is this what S2G are looking to find to take on the reigning champions, the defenders? Already out of it. S2G want more. One knock on the inside. Order in to play spoiler. It's big, but is it big enough? Two players now stand for S2G, and Vampire are in the wings.
Hamzy G takes an insane spot there. Silas down, Razy extremely low. It looks like that might just be it. For S2G, how much further can they go? Only one player up in Hamzy G. He has to take it all the way versus Nova's 2. 10 eliminations for them. And now just down to 1. But S2G, what a run they've had of it here.
No nades left for Hamzy. They have spent all they have. And with it, they are rewarded. A clash between Vampires and Wolves. A tale as old as time. And this time around, the Vampires reign on. Nova turn their attention away. And Hamzy, he's been spotted by Order. The leg peeking out. Under the vehicle, is there an angle? Is there a bullet to be found? The needle looking to pierce. And that will be it. S2G, 15 eliminations to close it down. A champion's performance in match number 18. And look at that. Elation for S2G. Emotion coursing through their veins. Nova, defending champions, graciously will hand over the title.
But at least show them that there's still other teams out there that can take it to them. Despite that, S2G went through the ringer to even get to that stage, and 15 eliminations. Zone 9, Vampire looking for the turkey today, but we've already found our turkey right at the top. And now Nova looks to close this one out. That's another one down. Vampire looking for the third. Paraboy is extremely low. Schweppes just has to find a little bit more. Pushed in by the smoke, and that will be it. Vampire take their third chicken of the day.
In the year of improvement, Vampire surge up the tables in the final day, but the title at the top for Turkey. The brass still hot on their path to victory. The boxes litter behind them. It is their time.
You cannot quite believe what you've seen here. These boys will be taking that trophy home with them, and there it will stay, there it will remain until it's placed back on the stage again, and they will defend the title. Razy has to be proud of this moment. He was vengeance in those last moments of the game, in the first moments of the game. DBS2G here. What a way to finish it.
Up the stairs towards the trophy. Turkey sings the praises of S2G. The champions here in Jakarta. Who will challenge them next year? It is the Turkish team, the Terminators, S2G.
Congratulations, S2G.
S2G have done it!